Ladies and gentlemen, if we could direct your attention toward the head table. We've got 4 toasts to come. And we're going to start things off with Alex.
Hi. Is this good sounding? Okay. Before I begin, I just wanted to thank, some of the people that have helped put this together, the Gannenbergers and the Pepperells. This has been a beautiful wedding so far. So, for those of you who don't know, my name is Alex. This is Jonathan. We're friends of Greg's. We go to college with him. And we've known him for the past 3 years now. And in that time, we've been able to see him around Casey a whole lot. And I must say, I couldn't be happier for the two of them. I remember when Greg called me to tell me that he had proposed. I told him he'd better call me about it because I didn't want to find out via Facebook. But he called me and he got my voicemail. I listened to the message the next day. And he said, guess what? We're engaged. And he went on to tell me about how it happened. How he was waiting for the right time as they were walking through the park. He wasn't sure if he'd find the right place. And then he saw this perfect little bridge that ran over a lovely little creek. And they started to walk over it, and he got down on one knee, and he professed his undying love and asked her to marry him. And that's really romantic. Honestly, I think the only thing he was missing was an orchestral background, like a choir of angels coming down. So he told me about this, and the funny thing was that while I was listening to the message, I thought to myself, this is the happiest I have ever heard Greg in my entire life. I've been around him, he's been pretty happy. I was around him when the Bears made the Super Bowl. I was around him on his 21st birthday. I've seen him happy. But this was by far the happiest that he had ever sounded. And it wasn't even the sound of, I just got engaged. It was the sound of, I just found out that I'm going to be spending the rest of my life with my perfect match. And looking at Greg and Casey now, it's blatantly obvious what he means. Greg is such a lucky guy to be marrying Casey. He's smart and beautiful, looks absolutely beautiful today. Charming, and one of probably the nicest person you could ever meet in your entire life. And deserves the greatest husband possible. So, Greg, good job finding her before she found the perfect husband. In seriousness, when I see Greg around Casey, he just seems at peace. And I feel like Casey really brings out the absolute best in him. My dad always told me that love isn't about finding someone that's perfect, but it's about finding someone that brings out the best in you and lifts you up to levels that are otherwise unattainable. Casey, you do that for Greg, and I can't tell you how happy I am that he has you. With that, I know John wanted to say a few words too. I'm pass it off to him.
So, as Alex said, I'm Jonathan. And for those of you that don't know me and how I know Greg, I thought I'd start by saying that I've lived with Greg in the same room as Greg for 2 years, and known him since freshman year. So through that time, I've had a pretty good chance to get to know Greg and then his relationship with Casey. And they just have a wonderful understanding of each other that I thought I'd kind of try to share a little bit of, because sometimes it manifests itself in some pretty embarrassing ways. So I'll just share one story. This was freshman year. It was not far into the year, and I hadn't met Casey yet, but I knew that Greg had been dating her for, at that time, about 2 years, and he talked with her on the phone pretty much daily. And so one day he was in his chair talking to Casey in his usual manner that involved leaning back in his chair and rocking. Obviously then, Greg's chair slips out from under him, and he falls flat on his back, horizontal, and drops the phone, and is kind of stunned for a few minutes, during which, of course, I'm laughing like a good friend. And we later found out that Casey had known exactly what had happened when she heard that thud and the phone kind of banging on the ground. And she told her roommate, Greg just fell out of his chair and dropped the phone. And I guess it wasn't the first time that had happened, but I thought it showed a really good level of understanding between the two of them. And I hope that can continue. And so with that, I'd like to wish them a very happy marriage, and that understanding will continue and move them together over any obstacles that they might face in their life together. And so with that, I'd like to ask everyone to raise their glass in a toast. And we wish you the best in your life together, that you continue to surprise one another with new levels of happiness and joy in your married life. Congratulations, and we love you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers. Amen.
Okay, we will go on next with Kim, and then Bridget will follow.